Good afternoon. Welcome to the tea table. I am so happy you have joined me today. This is a special June tea party. We are entering and celebrating the first day of summer. And we are celebrating another big royal event in England, Royal Ascot. And I'm wearing my hat, my gloves, and I have a very special purse today. It's a vintage Italian little box purse. It's my favorite purse, and it is a boilito, and I just love this little box purse. And we're going to go to Royal Ascot. You know, in order to go to Royal Ascot, you have to have an invitation. So I'm inviting all of you, and we're going to go, and we're going to enjoy watching the Queen's horses race, seeing all the beautiful ladies in their hats and gloves. And it is required that a lady wear a hat and gloves. It is required that a man wear a formal morning suit, which is as formal as it gets, with a top hat. And they are only allowed to take their hat off if they go inside for refreshment. Well, we're going to have tea today. I've made my tray as beautiful as I possibly can for you. And we're serving traditional, British, English, strawberry shortcake. Yes. In England, they'll serve it with clotted cream. This is whipped cream, the American way. And I have a little British plate it's on called Castles. And I decided to just we're going British all the way today, honoring the late Queen and the royal family. Well, I'm going to put that down, and I found a cup that has the most beautiful rose inside and out. The English rose, yes. So that is the cup and saucer. Very, very English. They love their roses. I lived in England. The climate is perfect for growing everything. It's a green land, lots of rain and lots of sun. And on the tray today, I put a cloth napkin for us, a pink cloth with a flower, a pink rose. And we have pink carnations in the vase. And I have pink tea roses here. I took off my porch. Aren't they beautiful? They smell so lovely. I will, in a little while, I will transplant these into a big pot. And I have huge rose plants now from doing that through the years. And they come back. I don't do a thing to them in the winter. And they come back. Well, if you haven't gotten your tea, pause and get your tea, and I'll be waiting for you. My hat reminds me of My Fair Lady, and that's how we know about Royal Ascot. Remember Eliza Doolittle got to go to Royal Ascot? And she looked so gorgeous in her black and white. And then she got excited about the race and let the cat out of the bag. Yes. Oh, I love that movie. My Fair Lady. Yes. Well, my teapot is French. It's Limoges. It's old also. But it looks just like the royalty. This is probably my favorite teapot, my favorite cup. my favorite purse, my favorite hat. I've never worn this hat on the tea talk. I was saving it for this special June day. Take a splash of cream, and we're having very brisk British. It's called bold. It's strong and oh my goodness, we're transported to England. Ascot is held at the Berkshire area where the downs are for them. It has been said Royal Ascot is a combination of our Kentucky Derby and a royal wedding. They're very strict, and really it all began in 1611 with Queen Anne. I'm sorry, 1711 with Queen Anne. And she established it, and then it kept going, and all 12 monarchs since have kept it. And then in 1911, it was made into a very official royal event. And there is the royal box where only royals can go, where they have refreshment. Then I believe there's the lower box, and then there's the Windsor box, and oh my. And the only way you're going to get there is to know someone, be very ambitious, have a lot of money, or connect miraculously with someone that invites you. I believe it's an invitation only. It's one of those exclusive events that we as Americans, we don't really understand, because we have always been land of the free, home of the brave, where all men are created equal under God, which is true. I heard a man say, well, some are a little more equal, but in God's eyes, we're all the same. We're all royal. He loves us. And when we let him come into our life, we become royal. Because remember, he is the King of Kings. And we are his children. We're royal. You're a prince, a princess? Yes. That's the phenomenon of America. It's rooted in Judeo-Christian values and British values. But there was just a little too much king in the 1600s, and they said, we've got to be free. And then the first pilgrims came, and then they had the colonial period, and then more the Puritans came, and then more pilgrims came. By 1776, old King George was not very wise. He was taxing the people with no representation, right? The American founding fathers said, this is enough. We know who we are. We honor our country and our heritage, but we honor God. And God has told us in his word that all men are created equal. And that's the beginning of the American Republic. Yes. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration. What a great man he was. I was just learning the other day that he had put a clause in at the end of the Declaration, quite lengthy, to eliminate all slavery, that slavery would not be allowed. But they were having a debate in the House about it to decide how they would word it, and in came a young man saying, the British are here, they're fighting. They had to drop, so they said, let's just leave it as is. And so the intention of Thomas Jefferson and the real founders was to eliminate slavery altogether. Yes. Oh my goodness, this is so delicious. Well, Royal Ascot is special, and it's considered a 5-day holiday every year in June. And it's the beginning of the summer season. You know, it follows the trooping of the colors. And you know, the trooping of the colors is celebrating the Queen's birthday or the King's birthday. It was decided because the weather was better in June to have a national holiday to celebrate the monarch's birthday. So this Ascot comes right on the heels of that. You probably saw beautiful Princess Kate last week at the Trooping of the Colors. God bless Princess Kate. We all love her so much. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person. May God give her full healing very soon. Yes, we are all praying for Princess Kate, right? Well, I also wanted to talk to you today about something really kind of going along with the beauty of summer, and it's about glass. And the beautiful, I have a piece of glass here. If I hold it up in the light, you'll see it better. And it has the varied colors. You know, glass doesn't get marked often. It could be Italian. It could be a piece of Chihuly glass. I don't know. But that's who I want to talk about just a little bit, is Mr. Chihuly, who comes from Tacoma, my birth city, just 30 miles north of Olympia here. And he's the famous Chihuly glassmaker. And my husband and I just watched the most fabulous special on him, and how he got ideas to take the glass and create it in nature and put it in nature. And he goes around the world, and he loves greenhouses, which I love greenhouses. He did a display at Chatsworth House. He did another display in England. He went to Finland and created, he has a team. They blow the glass, and then it's so exciting because his mistakes become the next creative idea. He's so positive, and his wife, she's a musician and a flautist. She plays the flute and the piano. And she said his glass is not modern, it's Baroque. It's so involved, it's so colorful. He's like the Bach of glass art. He's just on. And one piece I saw I loved had every color in it, massive. And you have to check him out. And he's very, very happy, very encouraging, a lot of faith. To do this, just to blow one piece of glass, is beyond, I couldn't even imagine it. It's not my line. It's not my cup of tea, as they say. Boy, do I admire it. It reminds me of Tiffany on the next level, you know? Well, let's have a little more tea here. And I've never been to Royal Ascot. It would be fun. But we can go together today. And we can have tea. They have tea. I think they were saying, I forget how many gallons of tea are served. And then they serve other refreshment and other beverages and finger sandwiches. And maybe people do watch the race a little bit, but it's really there, kind of like the French say, to see and be seen. Yes, that's what it's about. This tea is absolutely lovely. I feel like I'm sitting in a flower garden because of my pink roses, my pink carnations. I have discovered, like many of you have, carnations last the longest, I believe, as a cut flower. They go on and on. I'm always amazed. Oh, they're still there. They're still beautiful. I love them. And I love peonies. Peonies, I don't have any in my garden. My friend has peonies, and she keeps sending me pictures of her vases of peonies. Oh, they're so beautiful. I want to plant some. Well, my hat is what you are required to wear. And I was looking at some of the hats, they are so creative, and they just seem to constantly go to the next level. And you're not allowed to just wear a small headpiece. They have a rule. You have to wear a 4-inch hat at least across your head. So it's kind of fun. It's nice to know somebody still has rules. We've almost lost every rule for every imaginable thing. And I'm wearing white gloves, which a lady always would have worn downtown. If you went out, you wore gloves and hat in America to church or out. And if you look at almost all of the old pictures, there are always hats. And they're actually very fun because they keep the sun off. And in the winter, they keep you warm. This one is extremely comfortable. It just sits. And it looks so wild, but it's very comfortable, more than some of my other hats. Well, are you getting ready for summer? Because let me tell you what I have decided. I had the last 2 weeks were so big for me. It was like being on a merry-go-round. And about 3 days ago, I felt like God said, get off the merry-go-round and relax. So I canceled 2 things that I was committed to for the summer that were not really necessary. I just felt this weight go off me. I felt like 30 pounds had gone off of me. And I'm declaring that from June 20th today to September, I think it's the 22nd, I noticed, is the end of summer. And this is summertime, and the living is easy, and I'm going to enjoy myself, and I am going to do my best, but I am going to have a different pace. Yes, I'm going to have a different pace. I want to read. I want to write. I want to do my own research and finish some things I started. But just as I feel, I'm not going to have pressure. And we talked about that 2 weeks ago, about not letting anyone take your joy or bring you stress. And that's where I want to go, and I want to live, because I know that that is God's will. Because every time when God speaks, he says, peace I give to you. Peace be to you. Peace, peace. And then he says, fear not, fear not. I believe there are 365 fear nots in the Bible. One for each day of the year. If you think about that, that's a command. That helps us to be lighten up on ourselves a little bit, right? And take time. Take time. And I'm just really excited for this summer. I always love when June is here because, and as long as June lasts, I feel like, we have the whole summer. And we don't have June bugs here, but we have honeysuckle growing along the road, and I see daisies growing along my road, and I smell that breeze when I'm driving along the road. And I just said, oh my, summertime and the living is easy. Have a tea party and enjoy yourself. In fact, I am invited to a special tea party at a special friend's house that I'm going to take you to. It's down in the most beautiful little town on the ocean, Washington State, called South Bend. And we're going to go together in a couple of weeks and see her gardens and look at the sea. The sea comes in like the bay. It's romantic. It's where the cranberries grow. You've heard of ocean spray cranberries? That's where they grow. And I just think that having a picnic, having day trips is so wonderful. It's not stress. You don't have to pack. Jump in the car and go. My husband and I, for Father's Day, we went up to Lake Quinault Lodge. We had been with the family the day before, all day long, at a very important reception for my son and daughter-in-law, and it was wonderful. But so we had seen all the family, so we decided to just go up to Lake Quinault. Well, it was raining, but guess what? Lake Quinault is cozy. The fireplace is about, I don't know, 50 feet high. It's amazing. It's absolutely the biggest fireplace I've ever seen. And it's all natural wood inside. It's over 150 years old now. It was built, well, it might be 125 years approximately, and unchanged. You don't even hardly get Wi-Fi there. It's a real true resort. So we just went and sat by the fire. We had coffee, we had something to eat, and then we came home. I felt like we'd been on a trip, just a day trip. Any place you can go within an hour of your house is a good day. Any farther, it gets a little difficult, but an hour is not bad. And it's a good way to enjoy summer and the beauty of wherever you live. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Please push the notification bell and the like button if you like it, and share with someone. I want this tea talk to go to the people that need it. I want this tea talk to be a positive, good, happy word for people of all ages to know that God loves them, and there is always time for a cup of tea with a friend, and to expand our horizons. Yes. And I have been meeting some of my darling little tea children. Little darling Dwira is 7. Oh my goodness. She's a little angel, and she watches it. And she can imitate me. I loved it. It was so darling. She was imitating me. She actually said, if you haven't gotten your tea yet, please pause and get your tea, and I'll be waiting for you. Isn't that adorable? I also want to give 3 cheers for all the men that are working so hard in this world, that are building. I have sons that work really hard. I have a son building a cabin. His brother, my other son, is helping him. And my other son comes through and helps too. It is a big undertaking building a cabin, and it's going to be beautiful. And then my grandsons came through, Ezra and Elia, and they helped. They worked like men. And they're 16 and 18. My son took them on a big job up in north of Seattle. And the man, their employer, was so impressed. He said, I've never seen young kids work like this. And he gave them each a big tip of $50 each along with their pay. You know, it's the best thing. And then I took one grandson to the train, and he went to Montana to be with his Uncle Ian, and they're now building a cabin there. More than a cabin, a beautiful house. Yeah, Ian works, it's my son-in-law's brother, and he does work in natural wood and builds those beautiful log houses in Montana. Well, he's building one for his family now. And so then Elia got a call. Well, he needed to go over too, so I took him to the airport, and he flew out, and they're all working, building. I said, what a fabulous summer. And I told Elia, he's been on this tea talk, you could write a book, Elia. You've got all the characters, all these uncles, unique, unique, original people for sure. And you've got on the train, and they came from Arizona up to Washington, and now going to Montana, and now back to Boise. They're going to go where their parents have decided to move back to Boise, where their father originally was. So the book series could cover 4 states. And it could be about a young boy doing a summer job. And I thought, I am so grateful. When I was young, I couldn't wait till I was 16 and get a real job in the summer. And I got one, and I loved it. I loved earning my own money. I bought my own clothes for back to school. I did little jobs before that, like cleaning house and babysitting, but when I got a real job, I just loved it. I think good work and variety is so wonderful for young people. When I was at the University of Washington, I got a student job working at the Burke Museum. That was so interesting. I was a guide, and I took people around and showed them the Burke Museum. And then I got another job. A graduate student, a woman that was getting her doctorate, hired me to do her research. And I went driving around Seattle getting her research done, and I just loved it. I felt privileged. I have always felt privileged if I have a job. I love having the different experiences. Yes. And our main job is to love one another. Let's not forget that. Let's remember to be kind, be good, be encouraging, have good, positive words for one another, and whatever different people are called to do, encourage them in their gift. It takes all of us, yes, with all the variety, all the unique qualities, to make it all work. Yes, it does. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this tea talk, and I just really encourage you to, this is my little device. It's a real cool thing. It's a little click. And if it works, which sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, it clicks my camera on and off. And I just thought, what a privileged time we live in, that we have Google. Now, on my phone, Google keeps creating all these videos for me, and they're so awesome. And it's like a record of my life, a record of the last however long I've had it, 10 years. Pulls up pictures and puts them together, and I can look back at dates. It's like a journal. You know, people complain about what's going on in the modern world, but let's be thankful for the modern world. No one had that kind of, at their fingertips, photos and records. And so even doing what I'm doing right now with you couldn't have even been done 5 years ago. Wouldn't have been thought of. So let's take all the good we're getting in the modern world, okay? And always have your tea ready for others. Share. That's the key to a good tea, is have it with someone else. Tea for two and two for tea. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous week and a fabulous summer. God bless. And if you're wondering what music we've been listening to, it was Johann Strauss, if you can hear.